account. I'm not sure you guys have done it or not. I'll show you how exactly it has to be done, because some of you has reached out to me saying that how exactly it has to be done. So if you see here, what you need to enter is dev.azure.com. Okay, that is what you need to enter, and then you need to click on start free. Let me create a new one. Okay. So if you see here, I've created my account. Okay. So once my account has been created, it will take me to here. So I'm residing in UK. Okay. So I will choose the same thing. Wherever you are located, if you could use that bit, it would be helpful. Okay. So then it will ask you to create a new organization. Okay. So whatever the organization name you wanted to give it, you can give it. So let me add a RVB. Okay, so if you see here, this is the way you can create a Azure DevOps organization. So at the top, if you could see, this is our organization. At the bottom, if you see, we have a organization setting. So if you click on that, there are these many bits are there. Okay, what is relevant, we will go through that. Okay, and further up as we go along, right, we will be adding few users and how exactly it can be managed. We will do that. So there are three types of further: basic, stakeholder, and Visual Studio subscriber. Okay, so basic one, the name says that, but the basic one is a more powerful compared to the others two. So as of now, what we will do is we will go and create a project. So as of now, I will close this. If you click back here at the top of Azure DevOps, right? So if you click there, this window, it will come up. Now we wanted to create a project in Azure DevOps. Okay, so project is a logical separation. Okay, so think that there are 10 projects are running, okay, in your company. So each project, it has its own Azure repo, its own Azure artifact, the main 5 services which we talked about, right? For example, let me go back to that. If you see here, 5 services, main 5 services, all the 10 projects should have individual their own Azure boards, Azure repo, Azure pipeline, and test plans and Azure artifact, right? In that case, what you could do is you need to create your own project. If you wanted to create a 10 project, you can create it. There is no limit. As of now, rather than going for a public, we will go for the private one itself. So let us go and create a project for us. Only the organization name should be unique across the world. Based on this itself, there are many access permission Microsoft Azure gives. So that is the reason this name should be, if you see in the URL, right? This URL is unique. Only this particular name, if it is unavailable, try to give 0102 or whatever it is, right? So whichever you want it, you can give that bit. Okay, but it should be unique. So the project one can be anything. So let us say DevOps, right? So I'll give DevOps. So if you wanted to give any description about that one, you can do that. What all the things it is required, Git and the basic bit. So you don't want it to mention it out, you can choose that bit and click on create project. This is the brand new vanilla DevOps project. We have created it. We have Azure boards. So as of now, in today's session, what we will be concentrating is on more of Azure repo and Azure pipeline. So these two things we will try to work it upon. Okay. So, but all rest other bits, once you create it, right, if you want it, you can start with the creation of backlogs, work items, and all those stuff. Okay. But as part of our curriculum is there, right? So what we'll be doing is we'll be going through first these bit, the step-by-step manner. Okay. I wanted to go in this direction itself rather than Azure boards. We will be talking about the V8. Azure boards and Azure Wiki. As of now, as a beginner of Azure DevOps, you don't require to learn boards and Wiki. So at the week 8th, we will be trying to cover that bit. Okay. So let us go back to our Azure DevOps. If we click on the Azure repo, right? So by default, like this, it comes up. Okay. So think that you wanted to create your first project. The naming convention, whatever you wanted to give it, because since you are learning it, you can give any naming convention. Okay. Let us say first project, first DevOps project. Any name you can give it. So if you click on that, it will go and create a repository for us. Okay. So if you see here, this is our Azure repo. Okay. So it if you could see the history, what we have done is the default or a template readme files, it has added it. Okay. Other than that one, this particular repo doesn't have any code in it. What is the use of Azure repo is in our software development lifecycle, all the code we write it in as an infra as a code. What is infra as a code? It's basically if there is any change, right? We wanted to audit it. We want to track it. Who made the changes, right? So think that there is some issue is occurred in our latest code. If it is not tracked, right, you can't roll it back to the previous version. Okay. That is the major advantage using our version control system. That is one of the main bit. In your team, there are 10 people are there. Think that there are some beginners are also there, right? So if they have coded not up to the standards, right, you can delete it off or revert their changes as well. Or you can guide them saying that the code has to be done in such a way as well. So we use a process called as a pull request and merging bit, so that as we go along probably in the next week we will do that bit. So as of now, think that this is a single repository what we have it. Okay. First DevOps, we have created a particular name for this. Okay. So now I wanted to, as a DevOps engineer, I wanted to work on this particular repo. Okay. In order to do that, what you need to do is click on here, clone. Okay. So before doing this, if you are on a Mac, right, so try to install Git. Okay. If you use a brew install Git, it will get downloaded. That binary should be there. If you are on a Windows laptop, you need to install Git bash. Okay. If you are facing any issues, I have created a one installation steps. Okay. So in my YouTube channel, you should be able to find it out. Okay. If not, I will send it over the mail. Okay. With the homework, follow it up. So probably it is a 8 minutes video. So it's quite easy. Just can ask me what is Git bash, right? So Git bash is basically in Windows world, right? Windows has a CMD or you can run a PowerShell, right? So we need a terminal, Linux based terminal on Windows laptop. Okay. So for that purpose, we have a software called as a Git bash. So if you search in Git bash, right? So if you see here, Git for bash. So if you download this, but you will get a Linux style window. Okay. Once you install it, you will be able to see like this. Okay. You can run any Linux command. Okay, on this. But so think that you wanted to learn as a DevOps engineer, right? So you should be at least have a basic understanding of a Linux commands, basic commands. Okay. So using this particular Git bash, you can run all the commands, major of the Linux based commands. So think that you wanted to practice few of the commands, Linux based commands, right? You can do that bit. Okay. So I would suggest to you install this on the Windows. Since you're a beginner, don't go for a GUI based. Okay, go for a Git bash so that you can practice Git commands. So once you install Git bash, right? So then what you need to do is, if you see here, this is the first repo we have created it. Okay, the name can be anything, whatever you wanted to give it, you can give it. Okay, there is no hard and fast rule. The best practices probably I will do it at the end of week 8 kind of a thing. Okay, but as of now, since you are a beginner, you can follow whatever the naming convention you want it. Okay, if you see here, the repo is in the central place, right? So if you go to our code base, our diagram, right, in the Git. So if you could see here, our the Azure repo, what we have created, it is here, residing here. So now you wanted to download the first repo, which is present in central server, okay, onto your laptop. Okay, on this, you wanted to clone your repo to inside your local laptop. The basic command, what you need to do is git clone. That is, I explained, in order to download a repository from server to local laptop, you need to use git clone. That is the first git command. Okay, so let us go and do that. So if you click here, a clone in Azure DevOps, and then it will, here there is a copy clone of a URL button is a clipboard, right? Just copy it. Either you can do a Control-C for this or click on copy. Okay, since I am on a Mac terminal with me, let me open up another window. First, I will create a directory. Okay, in Linux, if you wanted to create a directory or a folder, right, you need to use command called as a mkdir. This is a Linux command. So let us say, I will say Azure DevOps repos. Okay, so if I do ls minus lrt, this command will list out all the directory files present in my desktop folder. Okay, this is the Azure repo folder, it has been created. Okay, so if I wanted to log into that particular folder, okay, so I will say A and press my tab button. Okay, it will automatically select it. So just press enter. So if you see, you are into Azure DevOps folder. Okay, you can see it over here as well. You wanted to again confirm it in which folder you are in, right? So the command what you use in Linux is pwd. Pwd stands for a present, W stands for a working, D stands for a directory, present working directory. So if you could see, it is showing me my present working directory. Once you're in your respective folder, wherever you wanted to, wherever you have created it. Okay, so what you need to run is, now we need to download the repo, the first repo, whatever we have created here, to my local laptop. Okay, command what you use is git clone. Okay, git clone is the command used to download repository from Azure DevOps central server to local laptop. Okay, so now the URL which we had copied here, okay, let me copy it again. So this, but we need to paste it over here, right click, paste. Okay, so if you see, this is my beginner academy @azure dev.azure.com, and my organization name, this is my project name, this is my organization name, this is my organization name, and this is my project name, this is my repo. Okay, so once you click enter here, it will ask for a password. Okay, in order to authenticate with the Azure DevOps, what you do is click again this clone. Here there is a generate git credential button is there. Click on that, click on the password, copy that, and here to Control V or a paste. So if you see, it has downloaded it. So if I do the ls again inside this particular folder to see what all the things are there, okay, you would be able to see my first DevOps repository. We successfully able to do was we cloned our repo in this from the central Azure DevOps to my local directory. We need to go inside this folder. Okay, in Linux, move to that particular directory. The command is cd. Okay, C stands for a change, D stands for a directory. Repo name is first. If you press tab, automatically it will select it. We have logged into our repo. Logged into means we are into this particular folder path. You can confirm it by checking pwd. Okay, if you see, we are into that particular folder path. Okay, just note that whatever the folder you have created it, inside that one, our repo name, okay, whatever repo name will be there, right? This repo name. So when we do a git clone, right, it will create a folder with the name of your repo. Okay, in this case, we have given our repo name as a first DevOps. It will create a folder called as first DevOps. Let us do a couple of git commands. Okay, so let me go back. These are all the major git commands. Okay, git clone to download a repository from central to local. Okay, that is what we did it. So now the second command, if you could see here automatically it says I am on a main branch. Okay, meaning in Git we have a concept called as a branches. So that we will go through in the next classes. Okay, but as of now you think it has only one branch is there with us. Okay, this indicates your which branch you are in. Can even check that, but okay, using git branch, you are in, if you have a confusion saying that in which branch you are in, you can type git branch. It will show you if you have some 10 branches, it will show you which against which branch. If you are in whichever branch, right, against that it will mention a star. Okay, meaning you are in that particular git branch. Next command is basically git status. Okay, so git status, what is the use of git status is checks whatever current branch in your particular folder, right, all the files it compares against the central repo. Okay, that is in our case, if you see here, against this repo. Okay, if there are any changes, it will let us know. Okay, for example, if you see here, it says git is kind of a detective. Okay, so what it does, it checks status on, we are on the branch main. your branch is up to date with the origin. That is what it said. Okay, meaning my local copy, whatever it is there, this local copy, this repository is in sync with this particular central repository. Okay, so now let us go to the next command. Git add stands for a addition to our Git. We have a concept called as a staging area as well as a local repo. We are in working area. Our folder structure, if you could see here, the folder structure what we are in this particular path, this is our working area. We have these three stages. If we are making any changes, that it has to be pushed to the staging area. Okay. In order to do that, the command what we run is git add, so that files from this basket will be moved to the staging area. Okay. Why we do that? It's basically in order to make sure from this staging area at a bunch we can push it to this git local repo. Okay. So think that analogy you can think of, obviously you could have done a courier in your lifespan, right? So any item you wanted to send it out one place to another places, you will go to your local shop where you wanted to send a parcel, right? You will give it to that local shop. Okay. That local shop on that particular day, obviously he will collect all the parcels, and all together at the end of the day, what all the parcels it has been collected, right? All together on that day, it will send it to the respective destination. Okay, think that all the parcel has to be gone into the Bangalore location, right? Okay, so we are sending it from UK. All the parcel at once they will take it on that. They will collect it for on that particular day. Send the parcel to or courier it to within a one container. It will go in. Okay. So similarly, if I send a parcel to the local shop, or your friend sends it to the local shop on that, if it is a different time as well, all together they will together as in a single container, they will transfer it to the destination. Okay, the similar concept in the analogy. So if you wanted to make one changes, you have to pass it on to this particular stage area. Okay, you will make another changes. Then you will do a git add so that the data will reside in the staging area. Okay, think that you have made sufficient changes for your work, whatever the work it was given. Once you feel that it has to be pushed to the local git repo, okay, then you will go and do a git commit, so that at once those two changes, whatever it has been done by us, right, together it will go in a command called as a git commit. Let us do this bit now. Okay, so now first what we'll do is we'll create a file. Okay, so in order to create a file in Linux, it's basically we use vi command. File, first file.txt, we'll create it. Then in order to go in the insert mode, we will type I. Okay, this is my first file. I will do escapes. I'll save this particular file. So if you could see, first file has been created. If you now do the git status, it will show you first file in a red color. Okay, meaning our local copy is not in sync with our central copy, that is first DevOps. This first.txt, it doesn't exist in this particular repo. So what Git did was, Git was a detective, right? So what it did was it checked it and it found this particular file is untracked file. We need to use a next command in order to track it, meaning we need to pass from a working area to the staging area. Okay, the command what we use in this case is git add. If you select, you can choose either star, meaning all the files whatever it has been there, it will be added. Okay, it will be moved from your working directory to staging area. Okay, don't think that in physical movement of the file it will happen. It won't happen. It's just a earmarking. Git does it. Okay, so if you do git add star, all the files present in our working directory, it will be added to a staging area. Okay, if you do git dot, meaning in Linux, dot means the current working directory. Git star means work in the current working directory, or inside that one, if there are many directories are there, that everything it will be added. It's a wildcard. Okay, if you wanted to add only for first file, you can choose git add first file.txt. Okay, and press enter. Okay. Now what we have done is we have moved the file from working area to our staging area. Okay. So now if you do the git status, earlier if you do the git status, it was saying red color. Okay. Now if I do a git status, you could see it is in a green color, meaning git knows that the file has been moved to the staging area. Okay. Think that the work, whatever you are supposed to be done, right? All the things that it has been done, you need to move it to local repo. Okay. That is from this staging area to git local repo. Okay. The command what you use is git commit. You need to pass a message. Okay. Saying that why do we pass a commit message is if you wanted to make sure that because we are humans, right? So we may forget the things 6 months back, what it has been coded, we don't know at all, right? If you put a proper message saying that why exactly this particular file was added, then you can better track it, right? As well as if you move out of the project, if your colleague wants to see what exactly you have done it, so you can refer this particular comment. So that is the reason we need to give a meaningful comment. Okay. So let me add a meaningful comment. I will just mention I have created first file.txt. Okay. And then I will enter git commit. Okay. If you see here, it has done a completed the git commit, meaning from staging area, it has moved to the git local repo. Okay. So if you do the git status now, there is nothing is there, right? File, it has been moved from staging area to git local repo. Okay. This is a working area. Okay. We have committed it. Okay. We have done a commit. Okay. Now, if we go to if we wanted to move this particular commit, okay, and push it to the central server, okay, the command what we use is git push. So if you see here, let us go back to here. If I do a refresh, right, you won't be able to see that first.txt, right? So now what we will do is we will do a push. Okay, git push, I will say. Okay, so this command, what it does is it pushes the commit, the file changes, whatever it has been done, from local repository to the central repository. In our case, it's a Azure repo. Okay, let us go ahead and do it. So if you see, it has been pushed, okay, to our Azure repo. Let us go and check it out. Okay, so nothing is there. So let me do a refresh. So if you see here, the file.txt, it has been added. Okay, so if you wanted to see the content of it, if you click there, if you will see whatever I have added into this particular file, right, you can see that this is my first file. If you see the message, what I had given was during my commit, it said I have created a first txt file. For this particular commit, this is the commit message. I have created a first file.txt. So here also, if you click on the history bit, right, you can see the same commit message, whatever it has been done. So if someone wants to see that, you can see what all the files it has been as part of that commit ID, right? What all the changes it has happened. So in our case, only one file was added. Okay, that it showed to us. Okay, so now let us go and manually add couple of more files. Okay, so what I will do here is now I will go and modify the first.txt. Okay, I will say this is my first file, and what I will do is this is a change for my second commit. Okay, so I will save this. Okay, so if you do a git status, you will see it was in a red color, meaning it is still in our working area. We need to move from this local area to staging area. Let us create another file as well. Let us say second file.txt. Let us say this is my second file. Okay, let us go and save this. So if you see here, if I do a git status, two files are there. One file is modified, the first file.txt. Second file it is a fresh change. Okay, fresh file. Okay, so that is the reason it says modified, and here it says it has been never tracked, meaning we are still in a working directory. So now let us go and go from working area to staging area. The command is git add. What I will do is, rather than mentioning each one by one file, let me do a git add star. So if both the files should be taken care. So if you see, this is modified, this is a new file it has set. Okay, git has set. So now it has been moved to the staging area. So now we need to move from staging area to git local repo. The command is, so I will use the same old command. I will say I created a second file and modified first file. Okay, now I have committed it, that is committed to local repo. Now if I wanted to push it to the central repo, the command is git push. If you see here, it has been pushed. Okay, so if I do a refresh over here, you would be able to see first file.txt and second. Okay, the commit message, if you see, whatever I have given it, right, that it has been displayed over here. So if you wanted to compare it, go to the history, click here. Okay, so first file and second file, it shows if you see here, plus meaning it has been added. Wanted to see the last commit and this commit, what exactly the change has happened. If you click on that bit, you can see the green bit is newly added, plus symbol will denote that. The first line, we haven't modified it. As part of this commit, we have modified this line only. That is what it is showing to us. Okay, so this is what on the Azure repo bit. What I will do is quickly go and create one Azure DevOps pipeline, the basic pipeline. Okay, so let me go to here, coded everything. So now we wanted to do create a Azure DevOps pipeline. So there is a blue button over here, right? Click on this bit, and if you could see here, Azure DevOps gives us starter templates for us in order to, because if you don't know the YAML syntaxes and all those bit, and if you wanted to, if you're starting from fresh, right, what Azure does is, it will give you a already created templates. Okay, so if you think that, if you click on the show more, right, so if you click on setup build, okay, if you have a .NET application or a Java application or a Kubernetes application, so if you click on show more, right, it will show you further templates, whatever it is already available. If you are building a HTML project or Gradle, whatever you are going for building it, right, it will give you template for the same. Okay, so since we are doing a basic one, so let us go for a basic starter pipeline. Okay, so if you click on that, automatically it creates a normal basic pipeline for us. Okay, so if you click on save and run, okay, it will do a commit on behalf of us onto our repo. Okay, so let us do that. But the pipeline, it has been created. So if I go to our repo, right, this repo here you will see Azure DevOps helped us to create the basic standard pipeline for us. Okay, so if you could see, it has all the details related to our first Azure pipeline. Okay, so in this way you can create a basic standard template. So if you wanted to see what exactly it has happened with the Azure DevOps, so go here on the pipeline. Okay, if you click on pipeline, it gave us an error. It has created a pipeline, it has run automatically. Okay, so if you could see, there is a error it has come. Okay, if you click on job, you will clearly see an error message. So if you see, it says no hosted parallelism has been purchased, okay, or granted. To request for a free parallelism grant, please fill out this form. Okay, so this is important thing. So what we need to do is click whatever the URL it has been given, right? So click on that URL or open it in another page. Okay, so you need to fill this form in order to get a free agent. Okay, by default, earlier Azure used to give a free agent. People used to misuse it, right? So that is the reason they are now expecting you to fill it out. So usually within 2 to 3 days, they will allot your free agent they will give you. Okay, for this, just give your name, mail ID, and then we need to mention Azure DevOps organization. Okay, the organization what we need, where you will get, this is our organization. Okay, copy that, put it here. Okay, since we are using a private repositories, so let us select private only. They won't give you for public, so use a private only. Okay, click on that and then click submit. Okay, once you submit it, automatically Microsoft Azure team, what they will do is they will go through each case by case and then give a approval to or grant a approval of a single hosted Azure DevOps agent. They will give you that access. Okay. You need to make sure that this one you do it as soon as possible. Once you do it, right, then from next week onwards, we should be able to run our pipelines. Without those agent, either you need to go and purchase it. I don't want to pay, since you are a beginner, I don't want you to pay money from your pocket. So that is the reason Azure gives us this free parallelism grant. Okay, meaning they will give you agent. So make sure that before coming to the next session, you do this, but apply for a free grant. So they will take a couple of days, but they will make sure that you will get the access. Okay, they will confirm it via mail itself. Within 2 days, you will get that.